What's going on, everybody? Central Park Joe here. Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be responding to a comment that someone posted recently underneath one of my videos, and basically that person asked me how I feel at the end of a workout. How do I feel after exercise? And at the time I replied with a one-word answer, which was energized. Quite literally, that's how I feel at the end of an exercise session. That's part of the reason why I exercise so often and why I exercise in the way that I do. There's a common misconception out there, at least to me it's a common misconception, that you should trash yourself during workouts. And so that's the only way that you're going to achieve growth, right? To me, there's nothing that can be further from the truth. The only thing that happens then is that trashing during exercise inhibits you from any type of growth. In terms of physically, you're going to be incapacitated. You won't be able to do anything for the rest of the day, and it's going to make you miserable. Quite oftentimes, it's going to make you injured. You're going to be hurt. There's no joy in bragging about how sore you are, how you're injured from exercise. I mean, there's no benefit to that. And so just to kind of illustrate this, I just want to tell a story of when my eyes were opened to debunking, if you will, this manner of exercise, more specifically like trashing yourself. So I have a good friend who, at the time when he was living here in New York, he was working out at a private facility here, very prestigious, really top-notch, great instructors. The owners were great, and he invited me to work out with him. And so my friend is a guy who depends on physical fitness for his job. I really don't want to go into what he does, but I can describe it as basically extreme problem solving with dire physical consequences, right? So he's a guy who needs to be physically, mentally, and emotionally on point for his job. His job requires that. So, show up at the facility, then greeted by the owner, the instructor, say, "Hey man, this is hey, how are you? Nice to see you," kind of thing. And first thing the instructor said was, "You guys are going to regret coming in here," and something to that effect. And I was like, all right, weird, but whatever. And so we started to go through the warm-ups, get into the workout. There were like 3 or 4 different phases. This is about 10 years ago, so I'm trying to do this from memory. There's like 3 or 4 different phases of the workout. Each phase would have been enough for me, right? So each phase would have been a perfect standalone workout. And got to the point where towards the end of the workout, and I'll never forget, the last circuit we did was we had this like 100-pound dead ball. It's kind of like a medicine ball, kind of like a big round 100-pound rubberized ball. One of the assault bikes where you pedal and use your arms at the same time. And then we were doing weighted push-ups, so a 45-pound plate on our back. And we were doing circuits of this. And I remember glancing over at my friend, and now this is like about 10 years ago, so I was around 50. My friend's a little bit older, so he was more in his mid-50s. And he just looked awful. I mean, he was slumped in the corner as we were finishing the workout, and he looked like he was expiring. And I thought to myself, there's something that's not making sense here. There's a disconnect here in terms of the workout, what physical fitness is, what a workout is, and what's taking place here. So the end of the workout comes. Thank you very much. Nice to see you. Goodbye. Right? Walk out. He and I walk out together, and he just looked awful, and I felt awful. I don't know how I looked, but I just felt terrible. And I came home, jumped in the shower. I was getting ready. At the time, I was working in retail, so I was working anywhere between an 8 to 12-hour shift, depending on the day, on my feet. And texted my friend, and I was like, "Hey, man, how you doing? Thanks so much for the workout and all this." And he was like, "Joe, I don't know if I can work today." And I thought that was really interesting. So here's a guy who depends on his livelihood, his physical fitness. He depends on that, and he couldn't go to work that day. Luckily, he wasn't out in the field where mental dullness and physical exhaustion would have doomed him in his job. And I thought to myself that there's something really, I think irresponsible is a strong word, but it's, you know what I'm talking about. It's like there should be some kind of a, you should feel great after you're done working out. The workout should accelerate you into your day. You should come back. I work out early in the morning, so I come back from the workout, and I oftentimes joke to my clients or my training partners and friends that, oh man, how are we going to go back into the world of the average person now? Because, you know, you feel so good, and you're like, people who don't work out, who don't exercise, they're not experiencing that feeling. You know, they don't know what it's like to feel so good. And to that point, oftentimes what I'll do is I'll go to my clients and I'll say, how good do you feel now? And they'll say, man, this is a great workout. I feel great. I wasn't really feeling great at the start of the workout, but man, I'm so glad we did this today. And I tell them, hang on to that feeling. Remember how good you feel. This is what you should strive for, okay? Now, you take that feeling, you take that sense of accomplishment, and really, guys, pat yourself on the back, because you're doing it. You know, every day you're doing it. It's quite an accomplishment to do. Take that feeling and bring that feeling into your relationships, into your job, into whatever is going to come your way during your day. For those of you who exercise towards the end of the day or the evenings, when you're done, you're going to go home and your relationships, your significant others, your friends, your family, they're going to reap the benefits of it as well, because you're going to be in a really good mindset. You're going to be in a really good frame of mind. And that's really, to me, the goal of exercise, is to feel good. When you feel good, you're going to do good. When you do good, you're going to attract good. And so, you know, I think that the hard exercise regimens have their place, and I think that there's always I guess it's kind of an interesting, like, adaptation versus optimization. Are we working out hard enough to adapt and change, or are we working out basically to optimize? So, which I define optimization as kind of like stretching, foam rolling, ice baths, hot, cold, things like that. Things that are more on the recovery side versus the adaptation phase, which would be more the stress that you put on your body, and so that your body, the specific adaptation of the imposed demand that you place on your body to help it grow, and grow in the right direction, so to speak. But guys, let me know what you think down in the comments section. I really feel like that we also get too caught up in too much of a narrow regimental way of working out. And I think that the older I get, the more time I spend in this field, and the more time I spend in this, which, let's face it, guys, I live this, okay? I live physical fitness. I live this. This is my life. And it's not a hobby, it's not a fad, it's my life. And so the more instinctive we are with our workouts, I think the better our workouts become. And I'll give you an example there as well. So you guys all know that I work out outside all day, every day, pretty much. So I train most of my clients outside. I train myself outside, and that's year round, right? And there's a whole group of us here in New York and it's just great to be outside. But sometimes you'll show up. Now, oftentimes I'll show up to a place where our pull-up bars are, and you're like, oh, well, maybe the parks department are doing some kind of like maintenance in that area, and the pull-up bars aren't accessible. Or maybe, you know, we'll get down to a playground that's kind of adjacent to an area where like a high school is using that area for their recess or their gym classes. And so you're like, oh, okay, well, I guess today we can't do pull-ups, right? That's okay. Just stop and do something else. You know, that's the whole beauty of this. The whole joy of it is to be able to adjust on the fly, right? What happens in life when you show up at work and all of a sudden, like, your day is upside down the minute you walk in? Like, you want to be able to make good decisions and make the right decisions and not panic, right? So the same thing happens with physical fitness. The same thing happens with nutrition and with diet. Like yesterday, I posted a very brief video, a short of what I had for breakfast. Sometimes I have no breakfast. Sometimes Mrs. Central Park and I will have something to do really early in the morning. We'll have to jump up and leave, and all I'll have is a little bit of coffee. But since I'm not really, since I'm used to not eating or fasting, because I do fast situationally, I'm not going to panic. I'm not going to be like, oh my goodness, I haven't eaten today yet. Oh my God, my stomach is literally eating itself kind of thing. No, it's just like, hey, I've been here before. I know what to expect. Hey, if there's food, I'll eat it. If there's no food, I won't eat it. Or I'll wait till I come home and eat. Or, hey, on the way back where we're going, I was like, hey, let's stop at so-and-so and we'll pick up something to eat. It's really not that complicated. And so what I'm saying here is basically, guys, the simplest solution and the simplest answers are typically always the best. Just be consistent with your diet. Be consistent with working out. High quality consistency is very important. So if you're consistent eating a diet that's less than optimal for what your objectives are, then you'll receive and experience less than optimal results through your diet. If you're not performing the exercises that you're intending to do with really good form and with really good progressions and things of that nature, then you're not going to make the type of progress that you're hoping to make. So keep the quality high, keep the consistency high, and remember it's okay to be instinctive. There doesn't have to be this like all of a sudden from the heavens the tablets are going to have the workout set in stone, and then all of a sudden you're going to hear a knock at the door. 3 wise men show up and say, have you met your protein macros today? Are you eating too many carbohydrates? What happened to your nutrition? No, just simplest, more instinctive solutions are always the best, okay? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I can't remember who commented that, how do I feel after exercise, but thank you so much for that. I think it was one of the best questions to ask, because it really, it starts a great discussion, and I really hope that I hear some good comments down below. So once again, thank you all for everything. Love you guys. Love all of you guys. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing stuff around. Hey, even the perceived negative comments, there's always something to learn from that. So thank you all for everything. And hey, I'll see you in the next one. Love you guys.